welcome to Live with Lisa Michaels. If you're watching this show on Monday, June 25th, you're lucky. Is, I believe, going to be our best Attorney General ever to occupy that office in Oregon. He is the winning candidate from the write-in campaign and on the Republican ballot. His name is James Buchal. James, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about your political history, first of all.
I had a very liberal education at expensive Ivy League colleges, and I had views that were very unpopular. Things like the Constitution should be colorblind, the power of the government is limited by the Constitution, all things that are sort of fundamental but seem to have fallen out of favor. And I think now, as the ultimate government people have had their way for decades now and are about to crash the entire train, people are waking up to the notion that maybe some of the things that it said in the Constitution were right after all.
Debate experience at Phillips Exeter.
I was a debate champion at Phillips Exeter. They had little invitational tournaments with the other prep schools, and then I went to Harvard and majored in physics and did some more debating, and then I went to law school and business school. So here
Yale.
Here I sit
at
today.
Yale. Don't just brush over that one. So Harvard and Yale, 2 degrees from Yale, one of the hardest schools to get into and one of the hardest schools in the country. How far did you get with debate at Harvard when you were at Harvard?
Oh, I don't know. I think the best I ever did was 8th place in the nationals. So that's not.
So 8th in the nation, that's not bad. We, the people, have been engineered. There's a concerted effort to engineer what you do hear about on the news and what you don't hear about on the news. And that's why we're talking about here is the unreported news on Live with Lisa Michaels. The potential for the decision by the Supreme Court on Thursday, if they're supposed to finally come out of Obamacare, and also your opinion came down today from the Supreme Court regarding the Arizona immigration law.
Yeah, well, that's an area that's near and dear to my heart because I do a lot of litigation that involves questions of federal supremacy, and the opinion that came out today was, in my opinion, a real stinker, which sort of illustrates the collapse of what passes for law. There are all these environmental programs out there where the federal government has permits and regulations and no one would ever imagine saying, oh, well, that means that a state can't punish a polluter. Think about it. We have the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, the EPA. No one ever says that the state is completely disabled in environmental regulation because the federal government does it. And so then here you have some federal laws for immigration and naturalization, and suddenly the answer is, oh no, the state really can't do anything at all unless Congress says it can't, because in one case the judges, they like the law, and in one case they don't.
It's like ad hoc.
It's completely ad hoc. It's completely unprincipled, and it illustrates the collapse of what we, the rule of law in this country. For Republicans is to focus on decentralization, and just because a Republican says that the federal government shouldn't have anything to do with health care is not saying that that he wants to go out and kill people, okay? The answer is that the Constitution doesn't give the federal government any power over health care, and it makes no sense for them to be horsing around with that. That is something that you can handle on the state or the local level, and it works much better because right now what you have is these huge bureaucratic systems that make no sense, and then you have like Diaper Man, I have a medical condition where I have to wear diapers all the time, and so I should be on disability, and we have massive amounts of resources being sucked down in fraud and various types of idiocy instead of letting each state or each locality develop a system that makes sense. Now, to the broader point, your point is it's terrible that maybe somebody has to suffer because they don't have any medical insurance or something like that. It's difficult for people to imagine this, but in an alternative universe where the federal government and the government, in fact, any government didn't have anything to do with medical things for the last 20 or 30 years, you could probably go into the mall, you could lie down in something like a sun tanning thing for $20 every year, a computer would scan your entire body, stem to stern, and a computer would spit out whatever was wrong with you, and they could fix it easily and cheaply. But we have so many laws now that are engineered to prevent good health that people can't even imagine what it would be like to have a system where you could actually go out and buy health care in a way that made sense. And everybody is more unhealthy as a result. Ultimately, maybe it's a personal choice, but if I'm sitting there and I'm old and I'm sick, I don't want to die because some bureaucrat tells me I'd have to die. I'd rather die because I didn't have enough money than because somebody was going to turn off the plug on me because I'm a cow of the state.
The news media is constantly harping and trying to make Republicans look like, you know, we want to kill everybody, take everybody's health care away, and micromanage everybody's life. And they do that for a very good reason, because that's what they're trying to do. So if you want to know what the left is trying to do, just look at what they're accusing the right of doing, because that's what they're doing. We're strong Christians. We love freedom, liberty, the Constitution, and we want everybody able to do what what the Founding Fathers planned for us to do. And that does not mean running our health care and micromanaging everything and then justifying the takeover of our liberties through this global warming scam and the fraud. And I mean, there's just so many lies that the regular media is perpetrating on you. You really have got to do your homework and go out there and do not accept what they say to you. Don't you agree?
Well, I think there's Frederick Bastiat, one of my favorite political writers, once said that the whole purpose of the state is to enable some people to make a living at the expense of others. And you know, we're way over the amount of government we need now. It's a serious problem, and people can argue about it after we, you know, cut back significantly.